Morning, everyone. My name's Lana. I'm an academic support librarian here at the University of Adelaide Library. And thank you for joining me today on Kaurna land. I'd like to acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional owners of the land from where I'm presenting from today. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. I'm just going to pop up a poll in the chat. So this is just a couple of questions so I know who I'm talking to and so I can adapt my examples if I need to for those who are here with us today. The first question is asking what year of study you're in, and the second is asking which faculty you're from that you're studying in. So this webinar will be looking at mastering your use of library search. It will be recorded, so you can come back and watch it anytime, and we'll be posting it on our University Library YouTube channel. And we'll be posting it on our library webinar training page. We will send you a follow-up email with the links to the recording, and we will pop up the link to the webinar training page today as well, so you can have a look at our previous webinars or sign up for any in the future. I apologise in advance if I do fly through this content a little fast today, but we're a bit limited on time. But please just know that you can come back and watch the recording at any time that you need. So this webinar is part 3 of a series of webinars that the library is hosting this semester, and we'd love for you to come along to any others in the future. Please feel free to pop any questions in the chat throughout the session. We also have Rani online this morning. She's a colleague of mine and will help with answering any questions as we go, and we'll also be the ones that will post any handy links in the chat throughout. So I recommend you bookmark those for safekeeping or for referring back to later on when you need it. So let's dive into the content for today. So if you're wondering what library search is, it's what we call the library's catalogue, and it's the easiest way to access our library collection. First up, you might be interested to know what we have in our collection. And as a student, you have access to a huge number of subscriptions. So please take advantage of this. We have over 100,000 e-journals, and you can imagine within each journal, there may be hundreds to thousands upon articles within each. So you're talking, in the millions of articles, research articles that we have access to. We also have over 900,000 ebooks and over 1 million print books still in the physical library as well. And you can find all of this through library search. So other than your articles and your books, you can also have access to images and photos, videos, music scores, newspapers, conference proceedings, and all sorts of stuff. And you might be thinking, okay, that is a lot of resources. And, where do I even start to look? And that's what the purpose of today is. We don't want you feeling overwhelmed. We want you to walk away from this webinar ready to go ahead, have a go, and dive in to looking at our library resources. Now, hopefully you tuned into the webinar last week on searching smarter, not harder, but if not, that's okay. I'm going to do a quick recap just so we're all on the same page today when we start doing some demo searching. So what I'm going to go through before we dive in is some really basic search strategies that I want you to become familiar with and start practicing using when you are looking for your research articles or resources. So first up, we have Boolean searching or using search operators. And this is when we use and, or not between our search terms. So first up, we have and is the first operator, and we use and when we want to link different concepts together and find resources of search results that are going to contain both of these search terms. So for example, here we might want to find results that contain both keywords sleep and stress. So by using and in between, you can see that you're going to only get the results that are shaded in blue here in the middle that contain both of those, not just sleep or stress on its own. Next up is using or, and we use or when we want to use synonyms in our result. We want to include synonyms because not everybody refers to the same thing with the same keyword or the same terms. So you want to make sure you're covering all your bases in case someone has decided to refer to a common concept by a different term. So here, for example, I've got anxiety, but you might also have a look at stress. So we would put or in between, and your results are going to come up with either resources that have stress, anxiety, or stress and anxiety. So it's really opening up your results a bit more. Okay, and then lastly, we have not. And I would caution against using not, only because you can very easily accidentally exclude resources just because the author potentially has just mentioned a word that you're not interested in. I would only use it if you've tried using and or, and you're just getting still way too many results and results with concepts that you're not interested in at all. So you can try using it in that manner then. So that's Boolean searching and an or. Yeah, and using not, so you might accidentally exclude some of these resources in the middle here, which could be useful for you. Okay, next up is a very common method that we like to use. It's called phrase searching, and this is when we put quotation marks around your keywords where it's more than one word. So you want to keep the words together. So the quotation marks help to do this. They tell your search, okay, I want to see those words together. Otherwise, for example, with climate change, if we didn't have the quotation mark there, we might see the word change in the title and the word climate randomly written somewhere else. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to find results about climate change. So that's why any word where it's more than one word, you don't have to do it with singular words, but just two or more, use the quotation marks around to keep those words together. Then we have truncation, and truncation is what we use when you want to chop off the end of a word where there might be quite a lot of different endings that you're interested in. So the example here is technology. Instead of going technology or technologies or technological, you can chop it by placing an asterisk after the G, and the database library search will automatically search for all of those variations of that word. And then you have wildcards. So wildcards are used when there is variations in spelling. So most commonly, this is when we have a difference in American and Australian spelling, whereas we usually will have a U in the word, such as in behavior, whereas US will omit the U. So you could put in a question mark where there might be that slight difference in spelling. And I've just realized down here in the woman and women, that should be a question mark there. But that's just another example where you might find using a wildcard is handy for you. Okay, so that was a very, very quick recap of last week. As I said, this webinar is recorded, so you can go over this at any time. I think Rani has or will share a link in the chat now, and it's to one of our How Do I guides on searching effectively. And that will go through step by step with a lot more detail about what I've just talked about here. So first up, how do we even get to library search? The easiest way for starting out, you can always just Google Adelaide Uni Library and it will take you to this page. If you are on one of the university computers, for example, and you end up on the university homepage, you can always get to the library by clicking on quick links and hitting library there, and it will take you to this library page. Now, if you're interested in what else is on this page, the first webinar in this series, I do take you through a bit of a demo, but today I am solely interested in the library search box here and how we can access it. So this is where you type in your keywords and either hit enter or click on search. I'm just going to type in something very, very broad, very general, and see what we get as a result. So I'm just going to type in history and hit search and think about it for a second. Okay. The first thing to take note of is this yellow banner that's telling me to log in. You can ignore this for now. You can click on dismiss, but it will prompt you again later to log in if you want to actually access an article or a book chapter or something online. So I'm just I will log in just so we get rid of that. Okay, so you'll know you're logged in when you see your name up there and you can see the yellow banner is gone. So let's have a look at the results. As I said, I typed in history, a very broad general term. So you can see just from that one word, we've got over 27 million results. This is obviously a crazy number of results, and we're not going to be wanting to look through those one by one, but I will get to how we can narrow down those results further just from using history. So at the top here, this is a brand new feature to the library search. It gives you, depending on what you type into your search, it's generally when it's more of a general or a broader search, it will come up with more suggestions. So here it's giving me 4 suggested resources for history. So it's giving me 3 different databases that I might want to look at, or it's also given me a How Do I guide on medieval history. So this is a self-help guide and you can click on it and it will take you to the guide about finding books in the library about medieval history. So that can be quite handy to have a look through. Go back. Now to get out of this, you can click on the X here, or you can just click anywhere off of the white page and it will take you back to your search results. Okay, So I'm kind of going to go work my way from the top down. So let's say you've done a very complicated search. You might not necessarily do it for this one. It's quite basic, but let's say you want to come back to it another time. So there is always this button here called Save Query, and it looks like a little pin. And we can save this, and you'll see this banner will pop up saying save to your favorites. I'm just going to dismiss that. So that means that I can go look into my favorites at a later time, find that search and have it pop up automatically without me having to type it all in again. So let's have a look where that was. So there's two ways to get to your favorites. You can either click on the pin up here where it says go to my favorites, and you can see that it matches the icon, or you can click on your name and click on my favorites in there. So there's a couple of different tabs. Your first tab is saved records. So this is if you wanted to save individual resources. You can see there's a few in there that I've randomly saved in there. Or you can switch along to this tab here on Saved Searches, and you can see that we've got history saved here and the date that you searched it. So that's today's date. Now, to get back to your search, you can either click on this magnifying glass here to take you back, or if we're still in the same search, which we were, I'm just going to click on history, and you can see that it will take us back to where we were before. Okay, so let's have a look at the individual results a bit closer. So first up, you can see what type of resource each of these are. So number one here, this is a book. This one here is a journal. This one here is a video. We scroll all the way down to the bottom. I think I've already changed my view. And I'm just going to jump to, so you can change how many results per page. Normally default is 10. I've got mine on 50 at the moment. I'm just going to jump to the third page. So here you can see this one is an article. So that's an individual article, whereas a journal will take you to the publisher website with the entire journal that you can look at individual articles. Let's see if we can find one. Okay, so this one here, 114. You can see there are a few different options here. So read online, see how it's got the little PDF symbol here? That means you can go directly to the PDF without having to go through the web page. Otherwise, you can go through the online link, and that will take you to the publisher web page first, and that's where the article will be hosted on a web page. Okay. If I can find any others. Okay, this little symbol here, open access, means you don't need the subscription to the live, need to access it through a subscription. It is open access, so it's freely available for everyone to access there. And then you'll notice this little purple symbol as well, pointing out that it is a peer-reviewed article. Okay, so as I said, 27 million results, quite crazy. So let's narrow it down a little bit. So you have your options on the right-hand side of the screen here called Refine My Results. You can sort by. I generally don't touch this, but it's up to you on your preference, what you would like if you wanted to see maybe the newest stuff first. You can go into show only, so you might only be interested in what we have online and not physical copies. You might only be interested in peer-reviewed journals or open access, so you can click on any of those. You can narrow it down by type, so you can see there's lots and lots of different types of resources in here. You could narrow it down by subject. Again, this is not something that I would probably use too often, but if you are starting out with a search and you want to sort of see what topics are out there, this might be a handy thing to look at and see what other subjects there are within that main history topic. And here you will use quite often. So this is where you can restrict the date range of results. So, you know, the general, not a rule, but guidelines, you know, you might be suggested to only look at the last 5 years of research or the last 10 years. So this is where you can restrict your date. Okay, so let's filter out some of the results and see what we get down to. So we're starting off with 27 million. I'm going to go, I want to look at online. I want to look at peer-reviewed journals. And let's maybe have a look at a subject just to get it down a little bit more. Let's go, all right, I'm interested in history of technology as well. So I'm going to apply these filters first. No, I haven't touched the date range yet. So apply filters. Okay, so from 27 million, just with those filters, we've gone down to 165,000 results. So that's quite a drastic difference. Now I'm going to add in a date range. So I'm going to go, so you can see we've got records from 1884 in there, which is pretty crazy. I'm going to go from 2019, we'll leave it on 2025, and hit the refine button there. Okay, so you can see we've gotten down to 50,000 results. So from 27 million to 50,000, it's a pretty good refining of results there, even though it's still quite broad. You don't want to go through that many. And you can see what filters we have on here. So you can get rid of them at any time. If you sort of put on too many and it doesn't quite get you the results that you want, you can cross them off and it'll go back to without that filter on there. Okay, so let's try a different search. I'm going to clear this and let's try with a few different keywords using our phrase searching, our Boolean operators of and we use brackets if we're going to put any synonyms in there. If you're going to any of your or words, you would put a bracket around. Okay, notice I haven't used teenagers or adolescents. I've just left it as the singular because it will automatically search for the plural there, which is quite handy. And then you can hit enter or you can hit the magnifying glass here. Okay, so 868 results. So you can see just by using the and, adding in a few extra concepts, we've really already started to narrow down our results. Let's go with, I want to, again, only look at online, peer-reviewed. I'm going to apply those filters. I'm also going to look at only the last 5 years. Hit refine. Okay, so we started on 868 and we're down to 500 results. Still a reasonably large number, but again, even this search is still quite a general sort of broad topic. So you wouldn't expect it to be you would expect a decent sort of number there. Okay, so let's have a look at an article that you're interested in. So let's say this first one here. Yep, that looks great. I want to have a little look into it a bit more. So all you need to do is click on the title and it will pop up into a new window here. You can see that it's peer-reviewed, it's open access, and it is a review article. You can go straight to the PDF. So if you click on read online with the little PDF symbol, a little bit of a few second wait while it's loading in, thinking about it. Okay, so you can go straight to downloading the PDF and reading the PDF. I personally like to go through the online web page, and there's a couple of reasons why you might want to do that. So to access online, you can click on online, but it's just going to jump you down to this part here. Sometimes you will see multiple links. I usually start from the top. If that one doesn't work, I'll just come back and try the second one. Because we have such a massive collection, sometimes these links can be a little bit funny, but usually they're pretty good. So click on that first one, and this is going to take me to the publisher's website, and it's going to have the article on the web page so we can read it online. So this is Springerlink, this is the publisher. You can see that there is a button to download the PDF here, and you can read the full article online. One of the reasons I do like coming through the website first before directly downloading is because you can generally get this similar content viewed by others. So it gives you another way of finding relevant resources that might be similar or have been referenced by the one that you're looking at. Okay, let's just go back to our results. So there's a couple of other things you can look at in here. If you scroll down, sometimes you will see citations links, so citing this or cited in this. So this is just either newer articles that have cited the one that you're currently looking at, or you can look at what references have been used in this article. And then scrolling back up. So another great thing about library search and going through library search is that it will automatically generate references for you. So if you click on, if you found a reference that you would like, or you think you might be using in your assignment and you know you're going to need a citation for it, you can click on the citation button here and it will generate a reference entry for you. And you've got options between 4 different styles. If you need a different style, there is the referencing help guide on our library webpage as well. But then you can simply just highlight and copy, or you can hit copy citation and it will automatically copy it for you and you can paste it into wherever you're keeping track of your references. Okay, and then from here, if you want to go to the next result down, you can click on that down arrow. And again, to go back up, or to get back to your search results, you can click on the X, or again, you can just click anywhere off of the white page and it will take you back to your search results there. Okay, last thing I will go through very quickly today is the advanced search screen. So you might want to use the advanced search screen if you have a really high number of synonyms that you might be using. And it's just a bit easier to sort of put them onto different separate lines. So let's say we're going to do a similar search as the one I just did, but I'm just going to broaden it out with a few other different options. I'm doing social media, social networking, or Facebook or Instagram. And then I'm going to do in the second one, body image or body idealization. Now here, because there's an S, what I could do is I could put a question mark in there, and that's going to cover the spellings that have a Z or an S. If you want to add more concepts on a different line, you just click on add new line. And then our last one was teenager or teen. So what we're expecting from this result, adding more ors, is more results because we're broadening out our search. So then we will just hit search. And we've got 192. I must have done something weird somewhere. I might just change that back. Sometimes that's a bit funny. Okay. Anyway, so that is advanced search if you've got quite a lot of synonyms in there. If you want to edit, you can at any time. Just click on that arrow to open it up, close it down. So as I said, this is a weekly webinar. We'd love for you to come along to any others, and we also invite you to look at our past recordings and sort of keep up to date with what's going on here. So next week, we're looking at Gen AI powered search strategies. So this is a new webinar that we're doing. We haven't covered anything on this particular topic before. So we'd love you to come along to that and give us some great feedback give us any sort of feedback on that so we can develop that further as we go. Otherwise, I think we will finish up with a couple of minutes to go. So thank you all for coming along today, and we hope to see you next week or in the future. Thanks.